to get percolating. Things need to get stirred up. If you're listening to this on podcast, also watch the video. I'm going to share some screen with some report. This is another lot party quick tip. Hey, you know what? Tax season's kind of started, even though it might not seem like it. I'm starting to see at least social media activity of people, owing money or this and that. And I'm seeing a little bit of uptick in our dealers' 2-week sale volume. I'm going to go over that. That's a chart I'm going to share going over that 2-week sale volume and what time frame we got to look at. I put in the title, you got about 45 days to take advantage of this season. And I'm going to go over how or why I said that. And again, we all kind of know tax season's tax season, but I want to show you the data that backs up exactly when to shut things on and off. And this is nationally. I was just going to talk with guys up in Seattle. Of course, they'll have a tax season, but being up in the Northwest, they tend to pick up in a lot in that late spring and early summer, July, August stuff, where a lot of markets see a little bit of a July and August uptick due to summer sales events and summer sales-a-thons. But most markets, I'm here in Kansas City, go Chiefs this Sunday, right? And we start really seeing a big spike in tax season stuff, and then it falls off through April and May and a little bit of June, and then it kind of picks up July, August for summer sales events. And that's just seasonal stuff and busyness with people, right? At least here in these Midwest towns, weather starts to break April and May. People are busy doing other things around the house. Kids are at sporting events, going camping trips and road trip, spring break, all that stuff starting to happen. Or no, spring break actually happens in March. But I want to go over these trending metrics, and a couple things that we look at is shopper activity, and we also look at dealers volume. I'm going to focus mostly on the dealers volume because that's we can't control what the shoppers do, but tends to be the dealers volume follows that. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I'm also going to go over maybe some wholesale data that kind of mimics what we're seeing over here. Let me go here and let me hit share screen. All right, so we're over here. Now, this blue line represents our dealers, hundreds of them all over the country, 2-week sales volume. Again, we want to sell 100% of our inventory in a month. So our goal is to sell 50% of it in 2 weeks. So if you notice here, we're just starting as of yesterday, it was at a that's shopper index, a 46% sale rate. That means our average dealer that's using our services is selling, if you times 46 times 2, they are selling 92% of their inventory right now. Okay. That's our average dealer. So if you're not doing that right now, come join us because you'll get some average numbers there. Now you can see that's upticked from about 41 in the low 40s all through December, 41, 42, where they're selling 82% of their inventory, 100 cars selling 80. Now, if they got 100 cars, they're selling 92 out of that 100. Not bad, right? And again, that's our average dealer. But let's go look at where we were this time last year. And if we look, remember we're at 46%. We look at this time last year on the 6th, which will be tomorrow, was 47%. So again, that would be selling 95 or 94 out of 100. So pretty much on pace. So here's the 45-day window I'm talking about. Let's look at the peak of last year. The peak hit on 3/5. Okay. Now, again, we're looking at last 2 weeks. If you go back and let's just assume, here's my little calendar here. If I look at 3/5, 2 weeks after, that's basically going back to February 19th. So in about 2 weeks from now, okay, we're going to start upticking. We're already starting to uptick, but it will peak on 3/5. Then it starts going down. And let's just look by the end and the beginning. And so by 3/26, we're back down to selling about 100% of the inventory. So by beginning of March, we're selling 56%. So we're going to sell 110, 120% of our inventory. That's the average dealer of our services. And maybe some dealers out there, they're going to sell about 110, 115% of their inventory in that peak. Okay, but by the end of the month, we're back down to 100. And by April 16th, again, is at 44%. But again, that's 2 weeks of volume. That goes back basically April 1st is the really start of that downtick. So we got the month of March that will uptick. We know that the peak will start getting busy by mid-March. So we got between our February, mid-February and the end of March is that 45-day window, okay? 10 more days from now, it's really going to ramp up. by the end of the month and the first week of March is where we'll see that peak. And then by the end of the March, it's died down. Okay. So if you think about that 1 day old car right now, that 1 day old car will be 50 to 60 days old when it dies down. You do not want to own this 1 day old car at the end of March. Okay. 50, 60 days from now. And especially you don't want to own it rolling into April where we get that downturn, because once April hits, really drops off till July, and then we get an uptick July, August, like I said before. You don't want to buy that. Well, let's look at last year. Now, what was weird last year, we got a little bit of an uptick in January. From January 1st to January 14th, we got an uptick in sales volume. And I think what happened there is a lot of people got called back to the office. And not that we did, but at that point in time, we bought a car for my wife, and I noticed that a lot of the values are going down and inventory was moving. But if you remember COVID shutdowns, everybody, a matter of fact, I did a video saying, I've confirmed with other companies that they had deadlines by January. Like State Farm over here is an empty building for years through COVID. And I mean, it's a 3-story building. This parking lot's full right now. And what I heard with them, by January 1st, they had to have 1 day a week. By mid-January, 2 weeks later, 2 days a week, and by end of January, 3 days a week. So those people that got rid of a second or third car because they weren't traveling to work as much ended up having to buy and replace. Anyways, the next full peak was right around 3.4 and 3.11, same time as last year, right? Last year was 3.5, 3.4 and 3.11 was the peak. Okay. And then again, it died down rolling into April 15th. And really died down by May. Okay, so in the shopper activity, that's the red line. The shopper activity peaked February 18th, and the sales followed 2 weeks later. Okay, so right now, in the next week or two, we'll see probably that peak in shopper index. Look at last year's peak in shopper index was 220. So in the next 2 weeks, shopper activity is picking up right now. Make sure your cars are photoed aggressively or photoed. Make sure your comments are great. Your interior, exterior colors are there. The lower funnel customer says, hey, I want white with tan interior, white car, tan interior. If you don't have that right, and here, most dealers have exterior color figured out. A lot of times, I would almost guess 20 to 30% of the cars listed online don't have an interior color. And when customers are further down that funnel, they want black with black interior. They want black with gray. They want, white with tan. They're going to, just make sure your inventory is tight, okay? Make sure it's clean. And any car that's 1 day old will be 60 by the time this thing's over with. And that's when the market falls off and your sale rates fall off, okay? So I'm going to end that here. I'm not going to go into the wholesale data that kind of matches that, but I stopped the screen share. We can go over that next video. That'll give me give me a little bit more insight on where we're heading. But basically, the wholesale rates are starting to do a little bit of kind of dropping. It's weird. The wholesale values are kind of steady. Usually you see an uptick, but again, it's just due to this activity. But I will tell you the shopper activity is down comparably to last year. And so just watch it. Again, that Seattle dealer, the shopper index from last year to this year was down 12%. But yet there's the same amount of cars out there in the market. Now, is it the same right cars? That's a different question. But the volume's there. The amount of cars per shopper, the numbers are there. So you got a 45-day window. Activities ramping up in the next 2 weeks. Make sure any lead, and that's the other thing, and let's talk about that lead management with this, because you might get some leads over the next 10 days as these shopper counts are building up, and the customer might not be ready to buy them. They might just submit a lead to kind of mark that car, because maybe they don't want to put a profile on AutoTrader or Cars.com and build out their garage to save cars and hard. You'll see an uptick there, but sometimes they're just going to maybe submit a lead on that car to kind of mark it. And then they're not going to call or email. They're not going to call you back. You're going to call and email for 20, 30 days. And by then you might want to give up on that customer. But that 30th day, they might have just got their check. And they might have put a lead on a car sold, but they got their check. And now they're ready to buy something else. So you want to take that 30-day lead 30 days from now and make sure you're still engaging with them, because they might be higher in that sales funnel or lower in that sales funnel, ready to buy by day 30 than these other customers. Okay. So, stay tight. Don't get sloppy. Don't overprice, knowing that tax season's here and we're going to just carry to your sale rate and price to your sale rate. Okay, if cars are leaving at 97%, then price, sooner you get there, the better. Get 60 to 70% in the first 30 days still, so you can, again, take advantage of this little window. Because think about it, 2 weeks from now, you have a 30-day window. And if you want to turn your inventory every 30 days, 100 cars a month, carry 100, sell 100, well, you won't outsell, carry that inventory, sell it out, and then just replenish softly, roll into these slower months. If you'd like a deeper insight on your inventory, see how we can help you stay ahead of all this, both with inventory and lead management that we talked about, hit lotwalk.com. I'll do the demo. Okay. You submit a lead. I'll get it. We'll do a demo. We can review your current inventory, give you stuff to look at, but also, again, worst case scenario, you got something to take away from that demo that you can apply today. And best case scenario, we can help you through it. Because again, our average dealer is selling 90+% of their inventory right now. And if you're not, you should be. And they're going to do 120% here in the next couple weeks. Hope this is helpful. Talk to you later, and go Chiefs for the Super Bowl.